Examinations are an important part of a student's journey, but that should never become a source of fear or stress. Pariksha Pe Charcha, an initiative led by our Honorable Prime Minister, reminds us that exams are not a test of life, but a part of life. They should be approached with confidence, clarity, and a positive mindset. Today, we are fortunate to have Sri Sarath, Vice Principal, KV number 1, Palakkad with us, who will interact with us in the spirit of Pariksha Pe Charcha 2026. This session is not about marks alone, but about staying positive, building self-belief, managing time, and learning joyfully. We invite everyone to participate actively and reflect honestly. Students feel anxious before exams. So what are some simple daily habits that can help them reduce exam stress?
See, being a Navodaya student, you have lots of positives in your campus. For example, you wake up early in the morning at 5 and some physical activity at that time will generally reduce stress. Okay, you can also do some meditation, some yoga, communicate with people. So basically the problem we have is when we are tensed, we are scared to share it with others. Sometimes what happens is when you share it with others, this tension reduces. And also, how much ever you have studied, it is possible that you still feel tensed. So if you have such an issue, you should first think about the easier things that are there in your syllabus. That will build your confidence and reduce fear. Don't always think about the most difficult part. If this question comes in the exam, what will happen? You think about the easier questions that can come in the exams. Okay. In such a case, that is one way of reducing your tension. Jogging, physical activity, meditation, even breathing in and breathing out, kind of pranayama. That is one way. See, when you get tense, what happens? Your heartbeat increases, your blood pressure increases. When you take deep breaths, automatically, that heart rate will go down, your tension will go down, you will feel more at peace. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I feel that is the way you can do it.
So, how can students overcome fear of failure and stop comparing themselves with others?
See, comparison exists. There is no doubt. How much ever you try not to compare yourself with anybody, unknowingly, this comparison keeps happening in the mind. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
So, what you can do is stop yourself comparing yourself with others and start comparing yourself with yourself. Start comparing your performances, how much you have improved. Understand? So then what will happen is you will still be comparing, but you will be comparing yourself only with your performance, which means that there is more possibility of improvement there. Understand? See, exam fear of failure, that is quite natural, it happens to everybody. But what you have to think is, failure merely in one exam is not the end of the world. It can happen to anybody. But consistency in your hard work is more important. And if you put up consistent work, automatically failure will not be on the table. Okay, I hope I am making myself clear.
Yeah. So, sir, what should a student do if they feel overwhelmed just a few days before examinations?
See, normally it is natural that you will feel overwhelmed, tensed, and normally this kind of overwhelming sensation happens on certain subjects. For example, if you ask me, that would be science subjects or math subjects, which I find slightly difficult. What you should be doing is talk to your subject teacher. Understand? Your subject teacher is one person who can give you a lot of confidence. So that naturally, when you talk to your subject teacher will give you that confidence that don't worry about this. These questions are easy. Start doing these, that kind of thing. And not only that, also you talk to closer friends who are good at that particular subject. Yeah. You will not be overwhelmed about all subjects. It will only be about one or two. Not only that, if you are a religious person, you can do a bit of a prayer. Understand? Yeah. That can also help. So that is one way you can do it.
So how can students create a realistic study timetable without feeling pressured?
See, creating a timetable is easy. But sticking on to the timetable is more difficult. I'm sure we have all created timetables in our life. Am I right or not?
Yes.
And you have also done it, I have also done it.
Yeah.
And how many times have we been able to do it? I mean, implement that timetable in the right spirit?
That's not always.
That is the challenge, isn't it?
Yes.
So, first of all, what you have to do is understand what your study habits are. Okay, there are some people who sit at a stretch for 3 hours and then take rest. There are some people who maybe 1 hour they study, then they need say 15 or 20 minutes break. So create your timetable according to your wishes. Always leave some time for physical activity, time to remove your mind off studies. Don't try to cram too much in. If you cram too much in, what will happen is you will end up doing nothing. That's why your timetable should be in such a way that you should be able to get it done. So don't be too idealistic. If you're too idealistic, what will happen is, oh, this has to be done. Morning I get up at 5 o'clock, 5 to 6 I study this, I study this, I study this, up to night 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. This is not practical. Be practical. At your, at class 10 or, at stage, you require a good number of hours to study. But you also require a good number of hours for other things. Recreation, rest, dinner, talking to friends, all these things. So that timetable should be framed in such a manner, and always ensure that your difficult subjects get a little more time every day. See, there is another danger. Sometimes what will happen is we assign so much for our difficult subject that if we forget to take care of our easy subjects. So ensure that everything has got some time in your timetable. Okay.
Okay, so is studying for long hours effective, or is smart study more important? How can students balance it both?
No, that's what I told you. It's very important to know your study habits. Some people get up early in the morning at 4 o'clock because they feel they are very fresh at that time, and they study for 2-3 hours, ekdam solid study time. Okay, and they feel comfortable that way. But then there are some other people who hate waking up in the morning. They compensate this at night. They sleep at say 12 o'clock or so. Understand? So it depends on how your study habits are. That's why most important thing is to understand yourself. What kind of a person are you? As I told you before, some people sit solid 2-3 hours. Some people can't. So that is how you should be managing. And I am sure being in Navodaya, your afternoon remedial time you will be definitely dozing off, isn't it? Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are some people who don't doze off. So what they do is they study at that time. Some people doze off, they study at night. So what is practical for you, you understand. Most importantly, don't compare your habits with the habits of others. The others are an entirely different person. You're talking about two different individuals, totally different DNAs, totally different habits, totally different backgrounds. So don't try to be like other people. Rather, try to be the best of what you are. That is more important. Okay.
So what advice would you give to students who procrastinate despite knowing the importance of exams?
See, procrastination is not always laziness. Procrastination is also sometimes a sign of fear.
Yes, sir.
It's not always, we associate procrastination always with laziness, but it is not always like that. Sometimes what we do is we avoid things because we are afraid of it. For example, if you are not good at maths, you will say, I'll learn maths later, I'll complete everything else. That you have to recognize first.
Yes.
So what you should do is, if you are a person who has this habit of procrastinating certain subjects, take up the easy parts. For example, there will be certain parts of mathematics or certain sections of mathematics which you will find it easy, isn't it? Those parts you start with, then you will feel confident. If you take up the most difficult part right away in the beginning, you will lose whatever confidence is there. So take up the easier parts first, become thorough in that. That will build confidence to go forward, and because of that you will not procrastinate anymore. Rather, you will feel that you have to complete this, and set realistic targets. Don't say that today I am going to complete this entire textbook today. What will happen is, then today it is not possible, tomorrow you procrastinated. Rather, you say that I will complete 10 problems today. That target you will achieve. Then next day, next 10 problems. There will be no procrastination. Generally, this procrastination happens only because you set unrealistic targets and become scared of the subject. Isn't it? That is what happens.
So how can students stay motivated even when they feel bored or disconnected from studies?
Uh, See, normally what happens is, when do you feel disconnected from studies?
How do we stay connected with studies even when we feel bored or disconnected from it?
See, when do you feel disconnected from something?
When something like mobile phones or some activities distract us.
Yeah.
And also sometimes we may.
Okay, you feel disconnected from studies, but you feel connected to a mobile phone. Am
Yeah.
I right? You are disconnected from studies, you are connected to a mobile phone, which means you are interested in that.
Yeah.
Suppose you are watching a movie, you never lose concentration. 3 hours you sit, which means you are capable of concentrating. Otherwise, you should not be able to watch the movie also, right?
Yes, sir.
Only when you take up your books, you say 3 hours I can't sit straight. But when you're watching a movie, when you're watching, let us say, a cricket match, 3.5 hours, one innings continuously people sit and watch. Then there is no problem for concentration, which means concentration is possible. Only whether we are interested in concentrating or not is the question.
Yes.
Right or not?
Yes.
So when you feel disconnected from studies, try and study interesting subjects. Some people will be interested in social science, some people in English, isn't it? Some people enjoy biology, some people physics. So start with the subjects you feel you are interested in and gradually go on to the subjects that you find difficult. Then you will not lose this connection with your studies. And always make it a point that every day not to just study the difficult subjects but also study the subjects that you enjoy. That will keep the connection going. If you always concentrate only on the more difficult subjects, gradually you will lose interest, you will feel bored. To avoid that, also it is important to connect with the easier subjects. And it's also important that whatever you feel interested in, try to go a little bit beyond the textbook. Something in general. I know you have internet facilities and all in your Malapura JMD campus, am I right? So you can do a bit of extra reading regarding a subject you like. That you will be, doing something that you like, as well as you will be gaining some more knowledge. Understand? So that is one way you can keep the connection.
What is the role of self-belief in our exam success and how can students develop it?
Self-belief. See, these are all cliches. Self-belief, confidence, all these things. Basically, first thing we should understand is, if you have systematically studied right from the beginning, you will never lose self-belief. This is where we go wrong. We think about studies only when exams approach. So, if you start from the beginning, study consistently, study what is taught daily, there is no question of losing self-belief. But despite that, if you are losing self-belief, it is always important to talk to somebody whom you trust. If you have facility of a counselor in your school, I believe, yes, you can talk to that counselor if you're comfortable, or you can talk to your friends if you're comfortable. But in Navodaya situation, I think it will always be more effective if you talk to a teacher that you trust.
Yes, sir.
I think that is something that will give you more confidence. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be your housemaster, it doesn't have to be your class teacher, it can be any teacher. It is not necessary that the teacher should be teaching you also. You can talk to any teacher whom you feel comfortable with. Understand? See, we may not feel comfortable even with our parents, but we will be feeling comfortable with many teachers because we've been in Navodaya for an extended period of time, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is always better you talk to a teacher whom you feel comfortable with. Okay?
Okay, sir. How can parents support their children during exams without putting pressure?
See, I think the role of a parent is very important. Understand? The parent, I feel that the parents should regularly be in touch with the teachers regarding the performance of the child, and the parent should also understand. The parent should understand the capability of the child. See, you cannot, set the same standards for everybody. It is not about equality; rather, it is about equity. Parents should understand the strength of the child and encourage the child in that way. Suppose if I want to make my child a doctor or engineer, first I should ask my child whether you are interested in that. Understand? So it is important for the parent to talk to the child ask the what do you call the child's ambitions, ask about the child's interests, talk to the teacher, what are the child's strengths, and together they should decide in which direction the child should move. So the role of a parent is very important, and once the parent talks to the child in a comforting manner, in an encouraging manner, the child will no longer have fear of exams.
So, what kind of support do students expect from teachers during exam season?
I think the most important support they expect is communication. See, subjects, doubt, and all these things are one part of it. The other part of it is, if the teacher says a single comforting word to the child, don't worry, you will make it. That can do wonders to the child's confidence. Rather, if you say, if you study like this, you will fail, that will have a negative impact on the child. So it is always important that the teacher should remain approachable, and the student should also not be in fear of the teacher. The teacher should be approachable. At the same time, the student should feel free to approach the teacher also. I see, having worked in Navodaya for over 20 years, if you go to a teacher and ask a doubt, there is no teacher who will say, no, I can't explain it now. Every teacher will be supportive only. But the child should feel the confidence. Sometimes, see, it is not always about what other people think about you. Sometimes, most of the times, let me ask you, when a teacher asks a question in the class, if you know the answer, the first thing you will be thinking is, should I answer or not? If I answer, what will others think about me?
Yeah,
am I right?
yes,
So, at that point of time, you should not be thinking what others think about you. You should only be thinking about standing up and answering. There will always be people who will be teasing you, who will be like saying, oh, you are such an intelligent student, you are pretending to be intelligent, all these things.
Yeah.
This is natural. But remember, you have to live your life.
Yes.
They will not live your life. And if you give more importance to their words, you are the loser, isn't it? Also remember that if you fall into the bullying of other people, they are winning and you are losing. Am I right or not?
Yes.
So you should think only about winning and not give importance to the words of other people. Is it clear?
Yes. So exams are temporary, but learning is lifelong. So how can students develop a love for learning beyond marks?
See, exams are temporary and knowledge is permanent. It's all about habit formation. If you start reading a newspaper daily, you read consistently for 7 days. On the 8th day, you will wonder what happened to that particular news. That follow-up has to come today. You develop an interest, right? So habit formation is most important. It is not always about marks. Look at IAS officers. How many IAS officers have been class toppers? Not many. How many have been first rank holders in their class 10th or CBSE or SSLC or whatever? Not many. But it is not about, I'll tell you one thing, it is not about perfection. It is about consistency. If you work consistently, you will develop a love for learning. Understand? That is how you do it.
So what life skills such as discipline, resilience, or focus do we get from exams?
Could you just repeat that question?
So what life skills such as discipline, resilience, or focus will we gain from examinations?
See, I think time management, when you get a question paper, you don't attempt the first question always, isn't it?
Yes.
You attempt the easier part first and leave more time for the more difficult ones. So, time management,
Yes.
you present in a very neat manner, discipline comes. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
Confidence, solving problems. So examinations are not just a test of your knowledge. It is also a test of how you manage things in life. Understand? See,
Yes,
the
sir.
biggest examination is your life. And when you write exams on paper, you are preparing for the bigger examination, which is your life. So don't underestimate what you are writing today. This is a stepping stone to tomorrow. Okay.
So how can students maintain a balance and a healthy balance between sleep, studies, physical activity, and hobbies?
See, it's all that is where earlier what you said, the timetable
Yes, sir.
becomes important. Make a timetable. try and implement it. And after implementing it, after a few days, review it. Have you been able to do it exactly as it is written in the timetable? If not, make adjustments. Always, the importance of a timetable is that you will always get time for everything. Otherwise, what will happen is you will have no discipline in your life, no planning in your life will not be systematic. So, it is important to make a timetable, plan, and then you will know whether your life is balanced or not.
So, if you could give one golden rule to students appearing for examinations, like board examinations, what would it be?
Don't bother about perfection, bother about consistency.
So, if you'd like to share a message to students who feel that marks define their future,
No.
what shall you give?
I think the best example is me myself. I was not a good student in maths or science,
Yes.
but I did not go behind that. I knew that was my weakness. And at a time when I was doing my 12th, nobody was actually taking up English literature. But I did take up English literature because I knew I could do well in that. So my advice to children is that talk about your strengths, look for your strengths and work towards your strengths. That can build your career. If you take up something that you take up just because others are doing it, you will regret it in life.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir, for sparing your time.
You're most welcome.
Sir, and sharing your thoughts and messages which would help us in our future and exams as well. We really thank you for all your support for the JNV Palakkad you're doing, and we are always grateful for your presence with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure talking to you. And Navodaya is always a nostalgia for me. So you're always welcome here, students and teachers. Whenever you need any help or support, please feel free to walk in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.